All right, we got Knowles? No, oh my God. The white tuxedo, the man break. And what really bothers me, Knowles, is you own that tuxedo, don't you? You didn't rent that thing.
Well, what else am I going to wear to all the Emmys parties? I'm sorry if I look a little bleary-eyed, but I had to stay up and watch that terrible telecast last night because you made me.
It's good for your character. It builds character.
I think this award, it's the Arthur Ashe Courage Award for sitting through all of that, watching it on my TV.
Well, you look good. I hope you can, beat a Russian spy off the top of a train,
Yeah.
when you wear that thing. So it sounded, I'm glad you had to watch it because I did. It sounded dreadful.
I had gone to see Aronofsky's and Jennifer Lawrence's film Mother before the telecast.
Right.
That movie is just Jennifer Lawrence being tortured for 2 hours.
Yeah.
The Emmys were much more torturous. It was much more excruciating. I watched it. You know this. You know that rent in Hollywood is expensive.
Yeah.
It's one of the wealthiest places in the world, very high rents. But Donald Trump gets to live rent-free in the minds of every single person at that awards show last night.
It's like those shows are like 3 hours long, right?
From pre-show until the end of the show, I pulled a few clips just to give us a flavor for the entirety of America, which did not watch. But I could give 3 hours of this. I'm going to be talking more about it on my show because there simply isn't enough time to play every low-hanging fruit, stupid Trump insult that began from the top and ran through until the end.
It's amazing, and this is 40 million viewers, potential viewers of their television show that they hate so much that they are happy to get rid of that audience. 40 million people.
Potential is a key word here, Drew, because this was the lowest rated Emmys telecast ever. It is right now in competition, neck and neck, with last year's telecast hosted by Jimmy Kimmel. But it was pathetic. Stephen Colbert hosted. Obviously, he's made a lot of headlines and a lot of money on his late night show criticizing Donald Trump. It's the thing that saved his show. He would have been canceled had Trump not run for president. And so from the beginning, you have a guy who's a good performer. He's a great showbiz guy. He's enjoyable to watch. Every single joke was about how terrible Donald Trump was. The headline song was "Everything is Better on TV," and then they presented the worst imaginable world. Here's how it began at pre-show with an actress describing who she was going to root for at the awards.
Who are you rooting for tonight?
I'm rooting for everybody black. I am.
Everybody black. Who are you? You're rooting for everybody white.
I'm rooting for everybody white. Sure. I mean, is that the way it works now? I mean,
so the implication here is that black people are disadvantaged at the Emmys, and certainly it's been the case over the years in Hollywood that it can be hard for black actors to get jobs. There just aren't that many roles.
Right.
Not true this year. It was the most diverse Emmys Awards in history among presenters and recipients. Every Hollywood breakdown now calls for, quote, diversity casting. And of course they mean diversity of skin color, not in any way diversity of ideas.
Yeah, and if what you're fighting for, if the civil rights battle you're fighting is to win more Emmys, I think most of your problems are solved.
Here was Alec Baldwin really summed up the navel-gazing nature of this awards show. He won for his Trump impression on SNL. Here's his acceptance speech.
I suppose I should say, at long last, Mr. President, here is your Emmy. I want to thank my wife. My wife and I had 3 children in 3 years, and we didn't have a child last year during the SNL season. I wonder if there's a correlation there. All you men out there, you put that orange wig on, it's birth control, trust me.
Get it?
I get it.
Do you get it? It's birth control.
Yeah, nobody wants. What I love is that he's basically accepting the idea that winning those golden statuettes actually makes you a better person.
That's absolutely right. George Clooney embodied this. I think last week we talked about it when he was mocking Bannon. And the worst thing he could say about Bannon is that Bannon couldn't make it in show business, couldn't make it in Hollywood. And that to them, they are the royals. They're American royalty, and they are sneering at every single person who can't make it up to their rarefied area. There was one semi-funny moment during the show last night, and it was a surprise appearance by Sean Spicer. Here it is.
Of course, What really matters to Donald Trump is ratings. You got to have the big numbers. And I certainly hope we achieve that tonight. Unfortunately, at this point, we have no way of knowing how big our audience is. I mean, is there anyone who could say how big the audience is? Sean, do you know?
This will be the largest audience to witness an Emmys, period, both in person and around the world.
Wow, that really soothes my fragile ego. I can understand why you'd want one of these guys around. Melissa McCarthy, everybody, give it up.
It's a fun bit. Spicer was a great sport about it. It at least showed some reaching across the aisle to the half of the country that doesn't agree with you guys.
Right.
This was the reaction in the press today. CNN, quote, why did the Emmys help Sean Spicer rebrand? Huffington Post, quote, angry viewers are in no mood to laugh at Sean Spicer's Emmy jokes. Is that right, Huffington Post? I suppose you must have talked to all the viewers. Washington Post, Sean Spicer's yucky cameo at the Emmys. Yucky, because democracy dies in darkness, and we need the Washington Post to save our democratic republic.
It's that old thing from them, the culture is ours, you can't have it. You human beings, you Americans, you guys who live in the country, you can't have it. It belongs to us in L.A. and New York.
Don't you dare. And they went on, there was a bit with Julia Louis-Dreyfus calling Trump a Nazi or saying he sympathized with Nazis. Then Colbert implied that he was a traitor. And then Jane Fonda came out and screeched for a little bit. For some reason, she's still allowed on television. Hanoi Jane sat on Vietnamese anti-aircraft guns, but she's going to lecture all of us. And the way that you know that they totally jumped the shark on this telecast is that Deadline, the trade paper for Hollywood, even Deadline ran this headline this morning, Emmys TV review, Donald Trump overkill stains Stephen Colbert's hosting debut. Even Deadline, even Hollywood is acknowledging, geez, guys, maybe we should have calmed down before we went out there.
Drudge had the great headline was, and the winner is Donald Trump. Because you're right, he owns them. He owns them now, They dance on his string. Like what he does is all they think about, and their virtue is now tied up with him. If he starts to really succeed, if the economy really starts, it has taken off, but if it really starts to take off, if he does good things and things start to work out, they're going to look like the biggest idiots on earth.
He controlled who won the awards. The big winner was Handmaid's Tale. I really mean it. Yeah. The big winner won Best Drama, Best Actress, Best Supporting Actress. Was Handmaid's Tale simply because Donald Trump is president. Yeah. I watched a lot of that show because I'm a masochist, and it is a terrible show. I mean, the writing is absurd, but just the pace of it is slow, it's tedious, it's pedantic. It isn't good. There were a lot of good shows that were out this year, Westworld, Stranger Things. They had to give it to Handmaid's Tale to send a message to Donald Trump.
Well, also because this is what's happening in America today. Women are being forced to wear those hats like a flying nun.
Bailey at the Daily Wire made a great point, which is that in the introduction that Stephen Colbert does, all of the Handmaid's Tale women are walking in behind him wearing the capes and the heads coverings, and then they rip it off and start doing a dance routine in a completely sexualized and objectified manner. So way to prove your point, Hollywood.
So you mentioned the fact that this is the lowest rating. I mean, this is what leftists do. They come into an institution, the New York Times, Yale, as you know.
It's awful.
Entertainment industry, they take it over, they gut it of everything of worth, except it becomes a messenger of leftism. People turn it off, and then they sit around and talk about, well, it's a problem with the industry. The industry is having a problem. It's not a problem with the industry. We're sick of that. Why would people want to watch people, millionaires, giving them the finger for 3 hours? I mean, they don't want to see it. So you mentioned Mother. I have to ask you before I let you go. You mentioned Mother, and that was also a tremendous bomb after J. Law came out and said that the hurricanes were caused karma for Donald Trump.
Mother Nature screaming out.
How's the picture?
I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I'm the only guy in America.
Yeah.
I have to disagree with National Review said it was the most vile motion picture ever released by a major studio. And even the great John Nolte, correct about everything else, is wrong about this. He gets
knows
it
nothing
wrong.
about movies. I tell him this all the time.
People are reading it. You know, the movie, I think, has real artistic value, and I think it's a deeply Christian movie. I think it's basically just watching the Bible for 2 hours.
Really?
And there are two interpretations. One is that Mother, played by Jennifer Lawrence, is Mother Nature. She's Gaia, who we have destroyed. And in this reading, it's basically an environmentalist diatribe. And there's some reason for this. Jennifer Lawrence has been yapping about it on the press trail, and even Aronofsky, the director who directed the environmentalist version of Noah, has said that these interpretations are valid. But I don't think they're valid, and Aronofsky would not be the first artist to not understand his own work. I think the picture makes a lot more sense as a Miltonian Christian allegory in which Jennifer Lawrence isn't Mother Nature, but she's Satan. She's Lucifer.
Interesting.
And I think when you watch it in that way, the relationship between Lucifer and God, the relationship between man and God and Lucifer, and what causes the fall of Satan and what causes the fall of man, it makes a lot more sense. Certain scenes make a lot more sense. And the key to the movie is that it's told from Jennifer Lawrence's point of view. So you can't always rely on things. She's taking palliative drugs throughout. You're always wondering what's going on. It is a real...
Interesting.
It's. I think it's worth seeing, but then again, conservatives are Philistines, and we hate watching
like
anything that's
I
cultural.
thought The Black Swan was a good film. Michael Knowles, the Michael Knowles Show comes on after this, and you will continue to talk about the Emmys, right?
I mean, I've got 3 more hours to talk about. It only gets more ridiculous.
More importantly, will you still be wearing the white tux?
Well, I'm never taking it off.
Okay.
This is the closest I'm ever going to get to a real Hollywood Awards show now, so I gotta keep it on.
Yes, so tune into the Michael Knowles Show because he's sacrificed his career to bring you the truth. All right,
I have
Knowles.
no regrets. No regrets, Drew.
I'll talk to you later.